Hello, my friends. It's so good to see you. This is the penultimate episode of the series, Books That Made You Feel Something, where I read books that made you cry and they made me cry. I read books that made you swoon and they made me swoon. I read books that made you laugh. I laughed. I read books that made you shocked. I was shocked. And today, I hope I can be scared by the books that scared you. Of all of the categories on the survey that I gave you, I feel like this is the most difficult to find. A book that actually genuinely makes me scared. There's only been a handful ever that made me feel unsettled, like looking around my own environment, stressed out to turn the page. But it has happened a handful of times. And so these are all of the 78 top books that you mentioned. And this is definitely the most, niche results I've gotten. I'm sure you've heard of many of these books if you typically read horrors. There are so many books on here that were mentioned 50 plus times, and it seems like everybody kind of has the same answer. So then the other half of the list only had maybe 3 to 5 votes for each one of them. I'm picking books to read this week that I've heard of many, many times that I know I should have read by now. And then I'm also picking books that I myself have barely even heard of. A couple of those examples are right here. The Ruins, people have been telling me to read for what feels like a decade. Like, when did this book come out? 2006. Wow. So I definitely need to read The Ruins. And then I also had some people mention Helpmeet, which I've heard of this author, but I've never heard of this book, and it's a little novella, and I think that'll be really fun. In fact, I got novella recommendations quite a bit, and I do agree that that is the type of book to unsettle me, is when we're just in some kind of weird scenario, scary scenario for like 70 pages. If you're gonna drag out the horrors and scares for 400 pages, you're probably gonna lose me. I'm also combining this with summerween, which we will be on a trip for the entirety of this year, so I can't do my 2-day vlogs the entire week like I normally do. But this is my official summerween vlog. We're just about to leave, and I'm gonna combine it with my scary vlog because I feel like the prompts for summerween are always to read something frightening, and these books are gonna fit that perfectly. Good morning, friends. We're headed to the water park today, and I'm bringing one book with me. So I'm doing something fun, but I'm not reading a fun book. This is Sour Candy by Keelan Patrick Burke. It's just a little novella. I feel like I could easily read it in the cabana that I hopefully rented properly. I've never read the synopsis. I feel like I've heard someone talk about this at one point, but I don't remember what they said. At first glance, Phil and his son Adam are just an ordinary father and son, no different than any other. They take walks in the park, visit country fairs, museums, and zoos, and eat together overlooking the lake. Some might say the father is a little too accommodating, given the lack of discipline when the child loses his temper in public. Some might say he spoils his son by allowing him to set his own bedtime and eat candy whenever he wants. What are we talking about? What no one knows is that Phil is a prisoner, and that up until a few weeks ago in a chance encounter at a grocery store, he had never seen this child before in his life. Oh, so he kidnapped this child. Okay, terrifying. I've officially been on all the slides at the water park, except for the big scary orange one, because that just looks scary. And I started this, and it kind of feels like, if you ever watched Recess, there's the episode with the peanut butter kid who's following all the rest of the kids around, and once you get rid of the peanut butter kid, he latches onto someone else. This is what that feels like, and it's this little kid who's obsessed with sour candy, and when you take him into your house, your cupboard's filled with sour candy. And we're following one man that this is happening to, and his encounter with the child at the store, and then bringing him back to the house. And it's all very strange. But as far as the summerween prompts, I'm hitting so many of them. Horror, an author I've never read before, something under 250 pages. I wouldn't say this is particularly scary, but it also could be in the environment that I'm in. I'm out in the sun at the water park. If I was reading this in a dark, scary basement, I would be frightened. The boys wanted to stop at Bass Pro Shop because they've never been to one. So they're inside right now, and I'm gonna finish my book. I have one chapter left. Let's see how it all ends. is ending. What on earth? Okay. Here's something that I like. Of course, you know, cyclical stories. Stories where like things are all connected and things go around and around. And I think it had a good ending. I think it all made sense. A lot of people find scary kids in books really scary. Like that's something that's gonna frighten them, because I think in media, like visual media more so for me, when there's evil children, that can freak me out. I don't feel like evil children in books I necessarily find super frightening, but I could see this freaking people out for sure, especially when like there's an entity, especially I guess if you're child free and you by choice and you don't want children. The idea of this child just like following you around and you have no choice and everyone around you is like, that's your kid. What are you talking about? Meanwhile, you can see this like evilness in the child. That's definitely a frightening concept. I did not find this particularly scary, but I did like it enough. Not more than probably like a 3 out of 5. And now we have to do our usually annual crumble taste test.
It's crumble time.
These look bigger than normal.
Yeah, they do.
You think? We have the maple cookie, a berry something.
Berry sensation zone?
That's the cherry blaster golden Oreo.
Yeah.
This is some kind of pie. The brownie batter they have all the time, but we've never had it.
Like a quadruple chocolate cookie.
And the Nanaimo bar.
Which is the best one by far.
Let's try this one because we're not going to cut it. I'm just going to eat it. That was the best Nanaimo bar I've ever had. All the Americans got Nanaimo bars like last week, and none of them could pronounce it.
Nanaimo.
I give the Nanaimo bar a 10 out of 10.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. Okay, this one is the Oreo base. Oh, I think it's Gatorade. It's supposed to say it's like Gatorade, but they can't use the Gatorade name.
Oh, wow. Gatorade. That's good.
I like it. It's like lemon.
Yeah.
I give it a
8.
8?
Yeah, I was gonna say 7, so I'm on board.
I'm down for 7. This is the berry one. It's fresh. I don't think I can cut this one.
No.
Maybe I can just break it in half though.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
It reminds me of my childhood. My Nona would give me those.
I feel like we got something maple before and you said that exact same thing.
Did I? Because these cookies are literally what my Nona gave us, were these ones. With the maple butter in the between.
I'm a bad Canadian because I don't love maple.
Well,
That's
that
like-
was a 7. That's like a 6.5.
Okay. This one I think we're supposed to have like a spoon for. You're gonna like this. It's hot.
It's hot?
Warm. What do you have left? Just the brownie batter?
Just the brownie batter.
That's not even a weekly menu pick. We skipped the strawberry cake because they literally have that every single year, because we come down to Vancouver at the same time every year, and the menu for this week of Crumble is like always the same. I think it's a little too decadent.
Yeah. It's like,
5.
it's too rich. You can't enjoy it. It just hurts.
It's too thick. Okay, thanks for coming to our crumble cookie review.
Okay,
Okay, I'm not reading any more books today, but I thought I would show you our Airbnb in case you were so curious. We're here with 9 people, so that's why I needed a big space. This house was clearly just built and it's a little odd in some places. Look, there's like a den and then stairs going up and down. There's nothing that interesting downstairs. It's just a bedroom. And this is brand new. So the carpet's so soft and squishy. And then up here, look how just like white and sterile it kind of looks. There's a bedroom there. There's a bedroom there. There's a bedroom there. There's a bedroom there. There's a bathroom. And 2 of the bedrooms have en suites. And now for day 2, I have to choose another one of my novellas tomorrow. I brought a couple more. And we have to go into the States. We're gonna be there for a couple days, and we have a couple activities that will make the trip fun. So I'll see you in the morning. Good morning, friends. I've started my next read. We're currently at the beach. My boys are out boating somewhere, and all the kids are on the dock. Once again, I've started a book that I don't know anything about. It's called At Night All Blood is Black, And I've read the first couple chapters, and it's about war. It's about this man, and he is Senegalese, and he is a so-called chocolate soldier with the French army during World War I. Sorry if it's windy. I forgot my little wind thing. And it's talking about all the people that he's killing and how he's keeping their hands. Like, he's murdering them, and then he keeps their hands, and like what he's doing with their hands to preserve them, and just collecting evidence of all of his killings and like why he's doing it and how he got into this role. And it's really dark and it's really sad. So I'm just gonna keep reading on the beach. I brought my friend a bunch of books to choose from because she told me to just grab a bunch of like summery romances, and she ended up choosing one of my favorites, this one by Megan Quinn, and she's a couple chapters in, so I hope she ends up liking it. And I'm sitting beside her reading like the darkest thing ever. We've checked into our hotel for the next couple days, and I'm just getting a chance to finish this now. Of course, the only bookmark I brought, Arthur and his cutesy library card, because that really fits the tone of the video. This is for sure horrifying, but in a literary fiction kind of way. If we're reading splatterpunk regularly and horror, this isn't going to shock anybody, but it's definitely really bleak and hard and heavy, and there are some descriptions of war, obviously, and just the way that bodies are coming apart and things are spilling out of people, and it's just really devastating. And like when I did the shocking video, I think there's a mix of people who are mentioning things that are shocking as far as the content, and things that are shocking as far as like a moment that was a twist or a reveal or something. For scary books, it's like, this idea is scary. War is horrific. Like, this is just a sad, devastating, horrifying thing to be witnessing. But also some of the books might be scary as in like they're scaring the person reading. I really like the way this is written. It's totally up my alley. It has that repetition I always talk about how I love, and I love it because it feels like poetry without reading poetry. It feels like you're reading almost a song, like how every single chapter there's a chorus. There's something that's being repeated over and over again, and it just feels really intentional and beautiful whilst the content is horrifying. I just think that's a good like combo. Oh, and also brain rot is real, because this is now the second book in this vlog that I've read back to back where they have the phrase like 6 or 7 in it, and I'm like 6, 7. I'm reading scary horror books and locking on those numbers every time. But like, what are the odds that that's happened twice back to back? Know how I'm gonna rate this one. I don't know, I could talk myself into a higher rating maybe. I'm not totally sure. Maybe I need to sit on it for a minute, but a 4 feels right to me. I don't read a lot of books about war. I don't read a lot of books about soldiers. This is a specific part of history that I know little about already, so it was interesting in that way, but I don't think it's the type of historical book that is necessarily intentionally like even trying to teach you anything. It's about this specific person and the guilt he feels, the commitment he has, and like I love books about obsession. He's definitely obsessive. He's like definitely spiraling, and his mind is broken, and he's gonna do whatever it takes to track down like a specific person, specific type of person to brutally kill. There's lots of metaphors in here for sure. There was a whole section genitalia related that was interesting, and we're not just in it, we're before and we're kind of after. We're reflecting a little bit, but we're also reflecting on the time before entering war and like what people were thinking about him and his service, and like the way that they wanted to send him off, and what he felt or people felt he needed to experience before he went, because he might not come back or might come back changed. This would definitely be one to have like a book club discussion about. I think this is actually, did this win? I feel like this won the International Booker Prize. Maybe I made that up. It doesn't say that anywhere. This could have been like an early publication of it. Anyway, this was good. And it has a hand on the cover, which is one of my like oldest favorite cover trends. And in here, it's a cover that like fits really well with the book. Sometimes there's like a disembodied hand and it's just to represent something, but this book is literally about disembodied hands. I had a good time, and tomorrow I'll check back in with you about what I'm gonna read then. Vlog in public because it's been a long day. Everything's loud, and I might have crab in my teeth because we just went to our first crab boil and it was delicious. We went to our first baseball game today. We saw the Toronto Blue Jays and someone else play. The game was good. Not good.
Not good
because we lost. But it was a fun experience.
Fun.
And then we went on the giant Ferris wheel on the pier. That was tall and cool. And then Liam's on a scooter somewhere.
He's going
I thought you were looking like he fell or something.
Oh, I was just trying to see his shirt.
Things that I saw happen. Sorry, looking for a shirt?
Yeah, because he has this big shirt.
Oh, right. Things that I saw happen at the baseball game I was surprised by. The size of the food. A giant hot dog. I got a hot dog. The fireworks after people got home run. That was scary. And a lot of balls came right towards us, but not quite us. So I picked the perfect seats apparently. Oh, also the bottles of water at the stadium, William Christopher, were like $15 Canadian, which is scary. I'm gonna go back to the hotel and I'm gonna read the second half of this. I read the first half of this. I'm so intrigued by this book. So there's this woman and her husband is like, his skin is flaking. He's like kind of disintegrating in front of her eyes. And she thinks that he has something. But the doctor who like knows lots about like syphilis is saying it's not syphilis. So it's kind of a mystery what is going on with him. And he wants to be at a specific house. So his wife is taking him, who's like his caretaker too, from one house to another house and is transporting him while he's like, his skin is falling apart and like there's oozing things out of his body. It reminds me a little bit of this book, I can't remember what it's called, but like the body horror of it all, it's visceral. Hello. Oh, what angle? Oh, they're all bad. I'm shiny. Okay, I haven't seen you in 24 hours. Oh God. I am finished all of my obligations for today. And now we're going to Topgolf. I brought our golfing gloves. We've never been to Topgolf before, but this is now actually our second time on this trip that we're going. Where is my powder brush? Because, no, actually, where is it? I found it. Topgolf. It's such a good time. We don't have anything like it near where we live. I'm just gonna have to, the hair at the end of the day is not looking great. That's not what you care about. You care about helpmeet, which I did finish. And yeah, the pitch that I told you is the first like 3/4 of the book, and that is the horrifying nature of the book. Then the final quarter is something that I can't like spoil for you, but it goes in a direction that I can't say I was expecting, I guess. It does explain its disgustingness. There's like a backstory to everything, and it was weird. It was weird, and I remember reading some reviews, or when people were recommending me helpmeet, and then I put it on my TBR, a couple people were like, that book makes no sense, it was so weird. And for the first 3/4 of it, I was like, I don't see what you guys are seeing. But then I got to the explanation and the different kind of characters introduced in the backstory, and I was like, I don't get it. I don't know what we're doing, but I like it. And I especially really like that first 3/4. So I am giving this like a 4 out of 5. I had a good time. I recommend it. I feel like I can't talk about anything else beyond what I did. Already it's a gothic story. It's about like love and sacrifice, but also just uncovering pieces of somebody. Ew. I was just thinking about the pieces of this man. Uncovering pieces of someone's personality that, I don't know, you just come to understand everything that they're really up to, or it was more for the reader to slowly uncover everything that was happening. Today I'm gonna start pen pal because we drive home tomorrow, and I figure I can split this between 2 days. Again, don't remember what this one is. I know a lot of people were reading it back, like, I want to say 3 to 5 years ago, and so I'm sure that I listened to somebody pitch it, but I don't remember at this point what it is. In an attempt to make sense of his own mysteries and unsettling childhood memories, a man begins to reconstruct his past. As the games and adventures of his youth become engulfed by a larger story, he finds that it forms a tapestry of unbelievable horror that he never could have expected. Each chapter completes a different piece of the puzzle for you and the narrator, and by the end of it all, you will wish that you could forget what he never knew. Okay, what does it look like? Okay, I was kind of expecting it to look unique, like a puzzle, or have some type of weird thing to it, but it just looks like a typical novel. So I am gonna bring this with me to Topgolf. Don't know if I'll end up reading any at the end of a long day. This is just a nice way to wrap up the trip. This might not be a nice way to wrap up the trip, but you know what I mean. I ended up just reading one story. Well, it seems like a collection of stories, but it's all connected. It's like this one kid's tale. We drove back and we stopped at, what was that museum called?
Museum of Pop Culture.
Oh, the Pop Culture Museum. And now we're home and we're spending some time in the pool. The museum is really cool. There was this music section. There was a horror section, like downstairs in a basement. And then there was like sci-fi and fantasy, and it was all really fun to walk through. The first little part was called Footsteps. It was just an introduction to this 6-year-old boy's life, and now we're getting to the pen pal story or chapter. It's called Balloons, and it's about like his class each getting a pen pal, or like sending out these balloons with a note attached with the address of like the school, and then whoever finds it can send a note back to them. But like they're kindergartners, so I think he's gonna get back something not so nice. I don't know. gosh, I was gonna say that one isn't as scary as I thought it was gonna be. The pen pal was sending these photos and I was like, oh my God, GeoWizard or Rainbolt would be able to figure out the location. I thought that's where the story was going, that he was sending these Polaroids and the kid was gonna have to figure out like where the location was. And then the story got a little scary, even though again, the environment is not a scary one. That one freaked me out. Okay, it does in fact read kind of like a collection, like I thought, but also it's all connected. It's this one man's story and he's piecing together. It's exactly as the pitch said. It's like we're going in reverse. We got a story called Boxes, and then we went back a little bit in time. There's one called Maps that reference things within that one. So we're moving through time in an interesting way and just getting more information about him. And both of those like stories or chapters were good. They had a good build, and then they didn't have the greatest payoff. Each chapter, it's trying to end in a way that's like, oh my God, like gotcha. None have been quite as good as Balloons yet, and I'm interested to see if we come back around or if each one kind of exists more independently. It reminds me of reading like Strange, which one did I read? Strange Houses or Strange Pictures? Strange Pictures. And this is also a much faster read than I thought. Like the spacing is really big. The font is just really big, so I'm getting through it really quickly. And this one, Screens, so far just seems kind of sad. And then I think there's only one more after that, so it's gonna be over before I know it.
Can't even see underwater with them. Everything's just black. It's so dark.
I got these new goggles. They look like sunglasses, but they don't fit my face. And I think it's because of his eyes. They're like closer together than mine, because I can't even wear my new goggles. I thought they'd be so cool. And Liam looks great in them. Why is this happening to me? When I create the seal, it's like my eyes are being sucked out of my head. My eye is right at the very edge of them. It hurts. Maybe they're not that bad. Wow, you really can't see in them.
No, and it's even worse underwater.
Book. All of these years people have been talking about this book and like how dramatic it is, and I have avoided it on purpose. I knew I would hate it. I hate it. Ugh. I'm giving it 4 stars. That was so good. Fuck you, you terrible, terrible book. It's like we get these little chapters that feel really obvious. They feel like stories you've heard before. They feel like urban legends. They're a little simplistic, but like it makes sense because this child, well, he's a grown man now, but he's just telling us the different moments of his life that impacted him, and they happen to be traumatic. And they can't be like the most extreme. It's not a collection of urban legends. Like otherwise it would be crazy that like all of this happened to this one person. But the way that they're told and the way that they end, they feel like you're being told a ghost story, or like, I don't know, an Are You Afraid of the Dark episode. And then the last one, it just hurts, and it brings everything full circle, and it sucks, and it's bad, and it feels bad. But I really respect this book, and I'm surprised with the way everyone talks about it and the subject matter that you learn like by the end, how not gratuitous this is at all. It's not like grossly descriptive. And a lot of times when I'm thinking about other people's favorite horror, and maybe I'm just not picking those for this video, they're like really gruesome and just disgusting. And that's not what I wanted to read for this video. And I had a feeling this was gonna be that, and it wasn't. It was fucked up and it was making me sick to my stomach, but it's not like gruesomely disgusting the entire time. And this is the type of horror book that I'm always looking for, but I can never find, that's just real life horror. I feel like I don't hear very much about those ones. And if I do, they sound really grossly descriptive, and so I don't want to pick them up. But real life horrors scare me more than like supernatural and paranormal ones. And most horror does lean in the speculative direction. But then there's ones like this, it's just the real life fucked up things that happen. I was gonna read another book tonight. I was actually gonna get into one of the ones that I think is maybe a little more horrific, and I'm always having this feeling of like, am I reading the right books for the video? Are you gonna see ones that are on my potential TBR and be upset that I didn't read them by the end? Maybe I won't pick up another book until tomorrow, because that was a lot for my brain. Today we're finally doing something scary. Liam is taking his L test, his knowledge test, to get his learner's license. Pretty terrifying. I think he'll pass. And then I get a cute little red L on my vehicle and I get to teach him how to drive. Anyway, today, book-wise, I realized that up until this point, I have only read from male authors, which makes a lot of sense in like the landscape of horror. For one, it's just been a male-dominated industry for a long time, but also I prioritize female horror authors, so I've read most of them already that I've been interested in, and now I'm getting around to all of the men. Nice, Kayla. So today, I'm gonna read 3 books by women. 2 of them are short stories. One that I don't think I've read before, but I'm not 100%, like there is a chance, but it wouldn't have been throughout my channel because otherwise I would have like logged it on Goodreads. But it's the classic, The Yellow Wallpaper. I feel like I've heard so many people reference it that maybe it feels like something that I've read, but I don't think that I have. So either I'll listen to the audiobook today or the library is gonna have it in today. I'm not really sure when it's actually arriving. And then a couple people mentioned a short story from Octavia E. Butler. Let me remember what it's called. It has blood in the title. Bloodchild. That is also from a short story collection. And I can just listen to the first, I think it's the first story of the collection on Spotify. I think I saw it on there. I'm gonna listen to those 2 things, and then I have The Luminous Dead, which I just started. And I already have such mixed feelings about sci-fi and horror when they come together. This one had a really good setup. Everyone recommends this to me. Like this gets recommended to me so incredibly much. And I used to own it and I unhauled it because I read like 3 other Caitlin Starlings and have never given her more than 3 stars. So I figured this one, especially being science fiction and horror, a blend, maybe I won't like it. So I just kind of gave up on it before I started, which was unfair. And now I've read the first 7 chapters, so almost 100 pages. And I think it's about to start getting scary and claustrophobic. I recently read Her Last Breath by Taylor Adams, and it was so claustrophobic, and this is a kind of similar vibe. We have this woman who is diving, and it's futuristic. So there's like all of this description about how she had to modify her body and also how she had to fake experience in order to get this job. So she had to modify her body even more to make it look like she has endured all of this cave diving stuff. So she has like mutilated her body, and there's something to do with her digestion and her stomach like being removed and like tubes being placed places so she doesn't have to like digest things properly, so she can just be under the water and functioning. And she only has 1 person supervising her, which is abnormal. So this mission is already a little bit strange. And there's just 1 woman who is in her ear, who's in her suit, who can kind of control her suit also, but that's how they're communicating with each other. And she's telling her where to go and what they're trying to accomplish. And what they're trying to accomplish is not exactly as the like mission pitched, so she's fully understanding at this point like what's actually happening and if she wants to go through with it. Em is the one who's controlling the suit and like planning the mission, and I want to say it's Gyre. It's Gyre. Gyre. I feel like I've heard this name before, but I can't remember. I'll try to remember to look it up later. There's missing supplies, unexpected changes in the route, worst of all, shifts in M's motivations. Gyre finds her sense of control giving way to paranoia and anger. She has to overcome more than just the dangerous terrain and the tunneler that calls the underground its home. So like there's something also in the caves, we haven't really gotten an idea of that, that's going to threaten her life. I definitely haven't read anything that's scary so far, but I think underwater stuff definitely frightens a lot of people. One of the first books I ever read that really freaked me out, other than like in my childhood when I feel like a lot of things probably freaked me out, but as a grown adult, reading The House at the Bottom of a Lake, that was so claustrophobic. So I hope that this gives me that same feeling because I need it. Update, he passed. This L is so cute. And now we're going golfing because it's his birthday. And we're going out for dinner because did I tell you? It's his birthday. That's why he went for his test, because he booked it on his birthday. The day he turned 16, he wanted to get this. So I don't know when I'm going to fit in reading today. It'll be fun. Maybe I'll listen to an audiobook while we're golfing. Because like these boys are really locked in when they golf. Like they don't really want to talk anyway. And there's someone else coming with us. So Liam's not going to want to talk to me anyway. Oh, and while we were in there, this old lady backed into my Jeep. So there wasn't really any damage, but I guess she was there to renew her license, and they probably shouldn't have let her, but how could they have known? Yeah, I guess I was with Liam signing something, and Rob was sitting there, and somebody walked inside, and they were like, whoever has the Jeep outside, this lady just backed into you. Then she walked into the building and was like waving, like, she was like, sorry. That was crazy. So now it is a proper horror story. My vehicle's okay, I guess. But maybe she should have to retake her road test. I don't know. Our cart for the day. It's like leather here and so fancy, and then somebody chipped off the word helpmeet, and now it says glit. Devastating. I listened to the yellow wallpaper. I thought it was just going to be scary because it's this woman who has no control over her life. She feels like she has some kind of illness, and her husband's a doctor and her brother's a doctor, so she can't trust her own mind, and everyone's going to tell her there's nothing actually wrong with her. She's just nervous. She's just depressed, but she knows there's more to something going on, and like maybe it's something in the house. She's being medicated like hourly, and it was all about control. I feel like if this was one of the first horror stories I read, it would have freaked me out when I was younger. I'm gonna give it like a 4. I think it was really good. And I think that the ending was scary. Like with the wallpaper, like the truth about the wallpaper and like the things they were implying. It was really interesting. We're home. We went out for dinner. It was a great day. No one's surprised that I didn't accomplish my goal. I did not finish my book. I did not finish Bloodchild. I started listening to the audiobook, and I just kept thinking, like, what is actually happening? What are we talking about? So I think I need to do it with a more focused mind. I'm 70% of the way through the Luminous Deep, and I just do not see the appeal of this one. It's just about these two people and their dynamic. I think there's something interesting maybe being said about like independence and trusting yourself, and maybe it's a metaphor, kind of feels like a metaphor at times for like a toxic relationship, feeling like you're really relying on this person and forgetting that you can exist without them, but constantly thinking, oh, I should get back with them, or they're like all you know, so it feels safe, but you know that they're not good for you, and like finding your way back to yourself and the accomplishments that you know that you had, and like the capability that you have. That feels like a journey that we're on in here, but also it feels like a journey between these two women, and like, is it romantic? I feel like you could read this as a love story, but I really don't know. And sadly, I do not feel any of the anxiety that I was hoping to feel. And I'm so surprised by that. The writing is good. I'm not very interested. It's very slow, but it is about to be midnight and I need to go to bed, and I'm just gonna wake up and like wrap up these two things, give them my undivided attention and my best effort for being frightened. I was supposed to read this for 2 different videos. I forgot about the other one until I was just planning my TBR for it, and I realized I was supposed to read this for my 2019 horror video, where I was trying to find 5 stars from that year. And yeah, this wouldn't have accomplished my goal for that, so I guess I'm glad I fit it into this one. For me personally, there was one moment in the entire 410-page book that made me cringe. And it was right at the end. I didn't think there would be a moment at all. And it's interesting how in a science fiction situation, the scariest things are the most human. And there was nothing really related. Well, no, it was related to the science fiction, I guess. The moment that just made me, my body made me feel a certain way. But it was more just about like the body and the realities of the body. This was boring. It was really boring. I really did not like it. When I was thinking about things that scare me in books, I wasn't thinking about things that scare me in real life, because like I wasn't freaked out by a house at the bottom of a lake because I personally have any issues with water, dark water, like anything. I'm not scared of water in any way, but there was just something about that book. But I was feeling really claustrophobic reading Her Last Breath, so I figured this is a kind of combination of those two things, and it didn't make me feel any way that those two books made me feel. And I think it's just because of the description. Caitlin Starling just writes a lot of mundane tasks. That's what she does. She's just very descriptive about everything that everyone's doing and thinking in every moment. And because of that, a lot of times the tension is lost to me. I think something scary to me is when characters aren't responding in the appropriate ways to the scary things. Meanwhile, in here, it was like every response was really appropriate. I feel like, what was it? Helpmeet? Helpmeet was one, and like Cover Me with Apples are books that there's disturbing things happening, but no characters are acting like anything disturbing is happening, and like that makes me feel uneasy. This was just more, you know, a hard sci-fi, technological kind of story, and it didn't do anything for me. I cannot believe I finished this. I'm giving it 2 stars. I thought it was really dull, and I hate when I hate a queer horror because I want to love them all, and I want to be like in the group of the people on YouTube that I know that you watch who love all the queer horror. I just want to love all of them too. This one, no. It reminds me of reading, there's a Shonda Maguire, Into the Drowning Deep, that kind of feels similar vibe-wise that I also really didn't like. So if you liked this, check that one out. There's not actually that many similarities, but there's something vibey, I feel like, that's similar. Talking about things that scare you, I think one thing for me is definitely not being able to trust my own mind. And that's something that I think a lot of people can relate to, is the fear of losing your mind or not being able to trust yourself. That was a theme that came up in the Yellow Wallpaper, was being told that you're wrong and not being able to trust your own intuition or your memory or whatever. And in here, that was definitely a part of it. The underground situation and also the weirdness involved makes her wonder, gyre, if she's hallucinating, if she can trust herself. And that's a really scary thing to be navigating, especially when you're trying to navigate this like cave system already. And in this type of scenario, you can't just rely on yourself. You have to have somebody helping you along the way. And I think that giving up complete control can be really scary for a lot of people. I liked the themes of this. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It just was not my type of book. So it's going to be a 2. And now we'll get into Bloodchild. I restarted Bloodchild, and something funny about Bloodchild is on like the first page, I don't know, I haven't listened to the audiobook, but I feel like it was on the first or second page. It also said 6 or 7. So there's a theme with all of my books. It said there was a character who had 6 or 7 limbs. So Bloodchild is, I'm going to listen to it now, but I restarted it, and we're from the perspective of someone who is a part of this. I don't know. I actually really don't know. Are they humans? Are they like human creatures? Are they humans and creatures? Because there's like this like tentacle lady, I think, and she like feeds the children her eggs, and the eggs make you be able to live longer. And the perspective we're reading from is somebody who this like tentacle maybe lady has selected and is going to, has like watched grow up. And is going to be hers, like this one character, maybe being referred to as the Bloodchild. That hasn't come up yet, I don't think, but it's just talking about eggs and the dynamics politically of this like society, species, melding of species. But let's listen to the second half of this short story, and then I'll tell you if I liked it, because right now I don't know. Maybe I'll try to find a coloring page that fits well with the vibes, because that's spooky and scary. Okay, so I'm not going to rate that one because it was a really short story and it's part of a bigger collection that I think I might at some point complete, and then I'll rate the entire thing. That story definitely, there was a gross moment, but it was more the afterword, which explained like how she got the inspiration for the story, which was like bot flies and the disgusting idea of like implanting and then like being attached to the host, and that inspired this like science fiction-y story. It did talk more about like the races and species and how they were coexisting. So I did come to understand everything. And it was octopi that was mentioned, and having to hunt and such. I started this. I didn't get very far because it was a very short little story, but I didn't find any octopus. But I do have a whale, so I guess that was similar in my mind. But that one had to do with pregnancy and like an agreement between different entities and being chosen, and like the actual impregnation part. I don't like reading, which is the point, which is the goal. I can see why people would definitely have been grossed out by the impregnation moment in there. And I think I'm gonna get into the ruins because today is the final day of summerween, and I feel like that's a good one to wrap it up with. And then for the vlog, probably like one more book, one more short story tomorrow. Oh no! I've been reading the ruins all day, and I think the people that I originally heard of this from are people who really enjoyed The Troop and Annihilation, and it makes a lot of sense now that I'm reading it. I feel like it's kind of a mix of those two things, or definitely for the same audience. I didn't like either of those books. This story is about two young couples on a lazy Mexican vacation. When one of the people that they know disappears, they decide to venture into the jungle to look for him. What started out as a fun day trip slowly spirals into a nightmare when they stumble on the site of some ancient ruins and the terrifying presence that lurks there. So they have been dissuaded from going into the ruins and exploring by like people and vibes, and yet they have gone forth with their idea. Now they're encountering some strange things happening, and I feel like it's fine. It's definitely about the character dynamics and getting to know everyone, but I still don't really care about them all. And I was thinking I should grab the audiobook because that could be enjoyable for the second half. It's now the nighttime, so I can finally check off the challenge for summerween to read in the dark. It's not dark in here, but it's dark out there. Oh my god. Now it is dark in here. Okay, so now I can read in the dark officially. The power was set to go out, so I knew that was gonna happen. We have an outage for the next, 6 hours? 7 hours. They have to replace some type of poles. So I am going to listen to the audiobook. And there's an abridged version, which is very interesting. I think the regular one is like 14 hours. The abridged one is 6 hours. And I get the feeling that it's just going to be plot because that's typically how an abridged book goes. And I don't feel like I've seen very many horror books get the abridged treatment with an audiobook. So it makes me curious if people were feeling how I'm feeling, which is that I don't really care about a bunch of stuff that's happening and I just want to get to the meat of the story. And so maybe that will be the answer for me to enjoy the second half of the novel. But I also think maybe I'll follow along with my eyes just to see, at least for the first, well, I'm like halfway through, for the first couple chapters, maybe seeing like what has been removed and if I can appreciate or I feel like it's wrong what is being removed, and then I can decide from there how I want to continue the audiobook or the physical book. The difference between the abridged version, I gave up on the audiobook actually rather quickly because for one, it's not very well narrated for my personal tastes. The voices the narrator's putting on and the accents, I wasn't into. He just sounds like he has a stuffy nose the entire time as well, which is just distracting. But you know, audiobooks that were made this long ago, I just feel like the quality isn't usually as good. And then also I gave up on it because the abridged version, interestingly, leaves out things that I think are important to the plot. And Interestingly, there's moments that I feel like it's leaving out when the men are being shitty, but every single time one of the women is unlikable, like that scene and that dialogue is in the book. I feel like men writing horror, more often than not, they're gonna have some weird scenes regarding women. And there were a couple moments where there's a character who is constantly thinking about the men's genitals and like wants to jack them off so bad. And it's like, I would feel comfort right now if I got to touch his dick. And then there's like multiple other moments where she's like, I want to touch his dick right now. I want to touch this guy's dick right now. And I feel like it actually kind of makes sense for the direction that the book goes and like what the desire being explored is, I guess. That was strange. More than anything, it's kind of the typical human behavior story that you get explored when you're dealing with a group environment and a survival scenario. It's like, who's going to betray who is supporting who's focused on the group versus themselves, and like, how is everybody going to navigate what they're encountering. And of course, there's lots of deaths. When I've heard this book pitched, it was one of those like more extreme ones where people get taken out one by one. And so I'm just getting to, I think, a couple more by the end. And it's very descriptive and gross, but more like sad than anything else. I love when a character says exactly what I'm thinking. Why are you arguing about sex? You're leering over this woman who's in super tight clothing and it's wet. I'm at the end of the book and someone's like, why does it matter? We're trapped here. We don't have any food. Why are we arguing about this? Oh my God, it's still going? Okay. I'm gonna give this a 3-star, but I do want to say some things that I think are really successful about this. One, atmosphere. Great atmosphere. Very descriptive, especially with the grotesque moments. Why doesn't this talk about the actual horrors of this book? The terrifying presence is a little bit silly goofy at times, but the description of the forest and all of the presence, it's really well done. I think the ending surprised me because I just didn't expect, I didn't expect everything to go down the way that it did. And I think if you're just looking for a tension-filled ride that feels like a horror movie. This author, I'm pretty sure, has only published 2 novels and he does stuff in films. It feels like a movie. It feels like this actually was adapted, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if I want to watch it. I didn't finish this last night because I actually ended up watching Voicemails for Isabel with my husband that I liked. We were streaming it to my laptop while the power was out, which was fun and romantic. This was nice to read in the dark, but it definitely didn't scare me. But when people say it scared them, they might also just mean like grossed out. And this definitely grossed me out, and it happened. It was a long, lengthy scenes. At the end of the day, this feels like dude horror. Like I would put it in the dude horror category for sure, which a lot of horror movies fall into as well. Like you've got the typical cast, everyone fits into their tropes. You have like the sex scenes you gotta throw in there, you know, all the infighting and the drama, but then, oh my God, somebody hears a scary noise from behind them. Yeah, this was effective. I just didn't enjoy myself as much as a lot of other readers. Now tonight I'm gonna start in on the twisted ones because I just feel like I need to get this one out of my TBR closet. I don't know where it is. I have to go dive deep for it. I've started it a couple different times, and each time I pick it up, it's been multiple times, I talk myself out of it, and it kicks off really similarly to The Hollow Places, which is my favorite tea kingfisher. And so I just need to get through the first couple chapters where that feels like I've read it before, and then at this point it's because I have read it before, and just dive into the story, which is about a woman and her grandmother, I think it is, dies, and her father can't go and like clean out the house. So he sends her. She's an editor, so she has some free time in between jobs, and she's gonna go clean out this house. And when she goes there, she comes upon these letters or journals or something from her grandmother's boyfriend, or maybe husband, but someone who's not a relation to her. And he's talking about like how crazy the grandmother is, and like how she's keeping something from him. And there's this book that he was trying to find in the house, and now I think she's gonna try to find, because she is in the book industry, and she's like, oh, this will just be an interesting book. Like, I can't leave this place. It's so hard to clean out because my grandmother was a hoarder. There's so much stuff in here, but I can't give up because this book is so intriguing to me. Little does she know, the book has some sort of like magic or like evil entity or something within it. And that's what I know about the Twisted Ones. Guess what I did for the second time in one video? I picked a book that I was supposed to be reading for my 2019 horror vlog. I just went and looked up when this was published, because I just had this feeling while I was reading that I wanted to check. And it was published in 2019. The Hollow Places was 2020. What Moves the Dead was 2021 or 2022. And I just couldn't stop. I had to confirm that that's the publication date, because this just feels like a book that came before those two books, like right before those two books. T. Kingfisher is one of the authors that I've read the most from. I think it's probably around 8 books. And I can just feel her want to be writing about something else. Like, this story, good on its own. Again, I'm going to use the word atmospheric. I feel like that is what creates the eerie vibe for people reading a lot of these books, is just the atmosphere and the descriptions and the forest, creepy house and all of that. But I think I don't know if I'm just so familiar with this author's writing or what, but I can feel her introducing these ideas and being like, I want to write a whole novel about that. And then she did. So like the hollow places, like the mention of hollow over and over again, and the fungus and the taxidermy of it all, like it just feels like this was her starting point. And then she was like, let me actually rework this whole concept and turn it into the hollow places, which is incredible. And this just like could have never lived up to that if you read it first. In publication order, I think this would be a better book. But I'm reading it after reading so many things from her. They just feel like such similar books. I just can't ignore it. Like, the character ends up in an impossible place. They make an unlikely friend. The humor's the same. The character POV is the same. It's like this light-hearted horror, but still so eerie at the same time. It's just like, it's not just gothic. It's T. Kingfisher's very specific brand of horror, and it's so just like tasty. I'm having a good time reading it. The Hollow Places just feels like, okay, I wrote this book, and like, what if this character in the same kind of situation, this happened instead? What I like about this is that it's written after the fact. Like, the woman who's writing it is writing it to us, knowing that someone is going to read this. And so she says things like, if anyone gets their hands on this who was wondering this, or like, if this was a novel, this is the point in the story where I would be saying this, but this is my real life. And like, breaking the fourth wall is always so fun to me. Something else really fun for me is just because I've never had a book, I don't think I've ever read a book that referenced Kilroy was here. And she talks about coming across this drawing and that it's so familiar to her and like where it originated. And I just have like the exact same experience in my life. Like, I grew up with both my mom and my dad, I'm pretty sure, both drawing this, like sketchbooks and like on little doodles. And I think they probably got it, one of them from their parents, which is just something I haven't really thought about. And the way she was talking about it, she was like, I watched my dad draw it, and it was like a magic trick, because it was just these couple random shapes and it suddenly turned into an image. And that's my exact experience with it. That's such a little like nothing reference. When you have those little moments in books where like there's a piece of media or something referenced that really reminds you of something in your own life, like I love moments like that. I feel like I haven't had one in a while. Now, I'm supposed to be talking about how scary this book is. Of course, that's the theme of the vlog. It's not really doing anything for me in that aspect, but I'm having a fine time. I have about a third of the way to go, and I think I'll just wrap it up before bed. I don't feel like rolling the cameras and getting my reaction or anything, because I just don't think it's that kind of book. It hasn't freaked me out yet, though I can see how it would for other people. The Twisted Ones turned out to be exactly as I expected, plot-wise and rating-wise. I'm giving this a 3. I thought it was good. I definitely, as far as a feeling of unsettledness, being unsettled, it's going to occur most often with real life scenarios, even though I don't want to read them very often because like the realities of humanity are horrifying. And if things are going to scare me in a weird way, it is like when you're not trusting your own mind and when things around you are just strange, but everyone else is acting as if they're normal. I think those things in books appeal to me more in a scary way than just like a supernatural, like paranormal's very rarely gonna freak me out, especially in a book like this that does feel fairy tale-y, and Kingfisher always has a bit of wit and fun. I love her characters. I love her writing style. I just don't always love the plots. And this one was just fine. It felt like an early piece of work. I definitely thought the setting was effective. There's this house, but there's also the land around it and how the land isn't exactly as she expects. And when she tries to describe it to other people, they're like, well, that's not possible based on where we live and what we've seen around here. Like what you're seeing shouldn't be possible. But she never knows who she's talking to. And in these journals that she's reading, like who's giving accurate information, who's keeping things from her. There were themes in here that were interesting. It just wasn't the most like active plot for me to be enjoying. I liked the dog companion though, and he was dumb and had a good time, and that was fun. So we're gonna move on to my very final read, which I don't know anything about, like not one single thing about, besides my mother telling me that it's bleak. She picked up this short story collection by Harlan Ellison a couple months ago, and she read through it, and there's one story she really liked that I am gonna read, not today, Mephisto in Onyx, but I don't think she said anything about it being scary. But there's one story in here that multiple people mentioned in their surveys called I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. There's this cover that I really hate. Makes me feel uncomfortable, which I'm sure is the point. And I think this is only 20 pages. This being one of the first stories in here and being as bleak as it was, I think didn't set her up for the most enjoyment, I guess. But I don't know what it's about. I have no mouth and I must scream. Like that just sounds sad. I have no mouth. Like are we reading from the perspective of a person, or is this like some inanimate object that has no mouth? Or is it like conceptually, like metaphorically, I have no mouth? And like, what's the story about and how much can I tell you? Oh, and today's real life horror story, I ate too many dill pickle chips last night and my tongue is falling apart and peeling and it's really gross. I'm also having an allergic reaction right now, but I'm gonna talk about that in my next video because this one has gone on long enough. Oh, and there's one more challenge left in Summerween that I haven't completed, and it's to read something with a pink cover. And look, this one has a pink cover. Right, okay, this is sci-fi. Forgot about that. So these people are in a computer, trapped in a computer. No mouth, can't scream, got it. What's happening? So the story is these people, they may be the last people, and how they got into this computer and like who is putting them there, who's torturing them, and also like how they're interacting with each other and like what they think of one another. I don't know. Obviously, there's something to be said for gross descriptions, like if you're reading a horror book and you're freaked out by maggots and there's a scene where like maggots are crawling on someone, that's disgusting. But there's also this like unsettling feeling when things are just described as somebody said it with the taste of maggoty pork. And then I just have a vision in my mind of maggots, even though there's no maggots in the story. They said it with the shriek of babies being ground beneath blue hot rollers. Like, what? Ew, that was so sad. What the heck? Just this futuristic torture. The only way to escape is death. Now that was a good science fiction horror story. I found one I liked, but it was very short. I don't know if I should continue this book because my mom didn't end up really liking it, but you guys let me know if you've read it. If there are certain stories that I should definitely check out, or if I should just give the whole thing a go. Yeah, I like when a short story for the first half, you're like, well, I don't know what's going on, but I'm getting to know these characters, I guess, and their dynamic. And the second half of the story, it's like, fucked up stuff. It's like I didn't see it coming somehow. Bleak, yeah, that's the exact word that I would use for it. It's just like the sad trials, the things they have to endure, even though like the evilness is kind of unseen. They're also surrounded by evilness, and like how we have to constantly confront really horrific things happening to people around us. The world is bleak. Oh God, what a way to end the video. That got weirdly high on my scale, even though there was only a paragraph that was like truly disturbing. If I had to rate that one story back, I'd probably give it like a 4.5. I thought it was really effective. I wouldn't recommend it though. Anyway, that's the end of my vlog. Thank you so much for contributing to the survey. Let me know any books that, if you didn't get to participate, or maybe you've read since you filled out the survey, have truly scared you, or just the things you look for in books to scare you. And I will see you in the next installment, which is this the final one? Oh my gosh, next month is books that made you learn something, books that made you smarter. I can't wait to read all of those. And one of them is my Besties Book Club read of the month. So we'll have a live show in August. If you feel like picking up Forest Euphoria with us, there will be a live show for my channel besties. And I will see all of you in another video soon.